Yo, what's good, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry's Sisters review. This is season 6, episode 19, entitled Dear Karma. I know that this review is super late. I'm sorry. It's better late than never. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, then you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, tell somebody to tell somebody, all that good stuff if you choose to. But if not, just sit back, relax, and we're going to get right into this messy thing. Now I'm going to start with the two scenes that were very, very short scenes. The first scene is of Maurice and this random penis. This new man. I actually did like this scene for the sole purpose of we got to see a new set. We got to see, people partying, people having a good time. And I love to see it because we really see the same sets just recycled. And they have ran the steam plant down. That's where everybody goes. So I was excited to see something new, something fresh, something different. And so Maurice is out. He's enjoying himself because he's finally free from the chains of Q and all of that stuff that came with that bank robbery. So he just enjoying himself. And I think his white friend name is Chris. I actually like his character and I would love to see more of him. And so as Maurice is enjoying himself, he is met with this guy. I forget his name. But basically he tells, Maurice that he's seen him around before at the bank, but he couldn't remember his name. And I'm like, you remember his name. You know his name. There is literally 2.5 people working at this bank and rarely any men. The only dude other than Jacoby, and he worked there for a good 4 days, is Maurice. So I'm like, dude. The issue I have with this scene is that they just had no chemistry. There were no sparks. There was no nothing. So if I never see this person again on Sisters, I'm not going to cry a river. I'm like, could we please get Maurice with somebody where there's an actual connection, but we can actually see that person really is vibing with him and he's vibing with him. Honestly, I don't want Maurice with anybody because Maurice is thirsty as hell. He was thirsty, but he was trying to hide his thirst until the man, walked away. Like I said, quick scene. It was over in the blink of an eye. It kind of went on a little too long, but not really. We just know that anytime there's an opportunity for growth, Tyler is going to bring a new penis. When there are moments of opportunity for change, Tyler's going to bring a new penis. Whether it's for Maurice or the sisters, it's going to be a new penis introduced. That's just what he does. So moving along to the other scene that was not long, but very important in the sense of this revelation that is coming out. So we see Zach and Fatima, and they are laid in bed. Now, in addition to Zach being on a hunger strike for him not eating because he's just so concerned about his son, he's also on a sleep strike. He's not sleeping because he's so concerned about his son. His son. Michael. That's all that is on his mind at the moment. That's all he's thinking about. Now, I do find it quite convenient that all of a sudden Zach is conveniently remembering all the intricate details of his sexcapade with Heather. Because remember, like I will continue to state, he did not know this woman. I ain't seen that woman. I don't know who she is. Never seen her a day in my life. Now, all of a sudden, he remembers all these details. He went to the strip clubs with his boys. It was $20 to go into the VIP. It only lasted 5 minutes. He doesn't even remember coming in Heather. He was mad at Karen and he just wanted to feel good. I said, well, wait a minute. Damn. You remember all that, bro? You remember all of that? And you mean to tell me a $20 tip and you had unprotected sex with a stripper who you just met? Ugh, the disgust. The utter and natural disgust. But you remember all of these things now. Now, a lot of people pointed out, and I don't even hate, I ain't even, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hate on nobody for this because this is straight up Tyler Perry's alley. Now that Zach is conveniently remembering everything, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out some way that Michael is not his, although the DNA test proved that he is indeed the father. But now, I don't even remember coming. I don't even remember this. I said, Tyler, miss me. I see what you're doing, sir. I see what you're doing. I already know. I already can muster up in my mind the possibilities that this storyline can go in. But the main event was the opening scene, all right? We got everybody there, excluding Karen, you know what I'm saying? So we got Sabrina, all the players that need to be in this scene are there. Penelope overhears Danny running her big ass mouth, and this has nothing to do with her. It's none of her business. I will stand on that heel of that Danny should have kept her mouth shut. Yes, Gary should have been exposed. Yes, Penelope should have been made aware, but not like that. And the only reason why I say not like that is because this woman is 7 months pregnant. I know a lot of people were stating that it's best that she finds out now before she actually has the baby, but it doesn't matter. The child is coming anyway. I would rather it have been a more peaceful atmosphere because she's already going to be upset. She's going to be irate. She's going to be emotional. She's going to be sobbing. She's going to be crying, hurt, all those things in her state. That would have been my top priority. Whatever for Gary, he gonna get exposed, but I just would have been more concerned about Penelope. So like I said, Penelope, she overheard, she wanted to know the truth. This is where I just, before I tear them in the ass, I have to give a big shout out to KJ and Cheeto, okay? I can't stand Gary ass on this show, but Cheeto does such a masterfully wonderful job in portraying the character of Gary. He is true to that character through and through. And KJ is true to Andy through and through. Now, Danny tells Penelope that Andy and Gary have been involved for years.
Oh, see, let's stop right there. Stop right there.
Danny?
You a black ass lie!
Because we all know, this is why Tyler Perry really irks my nerves when it comes to these sporadic dates he throws out. Because if we really want to be honest, Karen Mott's pregnancy is the timeline of the show. That's how you can figure out how far things are. When Sistas, the very first episode of Sistas, we found out that Andy and Gary had been messing with each other for 6 months. 6 months, in the words of Medea, okay? 6. Fast forward, we have only seen at the absolute most, 9 weeks of these people's lives since the show has started. Because I think Karen is 2 months? She's 2 months pregnant, so she's 8 weeks. Let's just say she 8-9 weeks, okay? So I'm not understanding where Danny gets years from. That is so far from the truth. It is a lie, and we can return it to the pits of hell from which it came, because that's not the truth. Andy tells Penelope, we're in love. I said, no, boo-boo. You're in love. You're in love, ma'am. Gary is not in love with you. He's never been in love with you. Gary controls Andy. He knows that Andy likes flash, like money, like all of that, and he has the means to provide her the lifestyle that she so rightfully enjoys. She enjoys that. He has the money. It's not a problem. He could do what he needs to do to keep her under his thumb. Andy thought she was special. Andy thought she was different, which I don't know why, because when she got involved with Gary, he was married, and she knew that. So what makes you think that you are special? That's why I tell people, you can't tell people what to do, but I highly encourage anybody, do not get involved with a married woman. Do not get involved with a married man, because they're not yours. They are not yours. They belong to someone else. You are the side piece, whether or not you want to admit it or not. That's the role that you're playing. And Andy has always known her position. Sadly, she just didn't know how to play it. She thought more of her position than it really was. So everybody is trying to calm Penelope down. You know what I'm saying? The men come in. Gary comes in like, you know what? I said, baby, you know what? Okay, Gary, you know what? Long story short, Penelope and everybody finds out the truth. Gary, baby, this is where Cheeto deserves an Academy Award. That man started crying, so much so that snot was coming out his nose like, baby, I love you. The words that he said to Andy, this is where KJ gets major props from me. He said, I don't love her. She's not marriage material. Yes, we had sex. She means nothing. And I know a lot of people was like, why didn't Andy say something? But you got to think about it. Andy, as much as Gary is just the worst, Andy is in love with him. Andy loves him. So to hear those words come from his mouth in front of all of those people, it's like she just absorbed everything that he said. And I was looking at KJ throughout this entire part. The choices that she chose and how she performed this was absolutely amazing. Because and if you listen to our Sisters Keeper with me and Erica Vane, I talked about when my friend found out that her boyfriend cheated on her, and it was through the messages on Facebook, and as she read each message, every word that he typed to this other woman, I can't even explain the hurt that was on her face. So it was very reminiscent for me for a real time that my friend was going through something similar. And it was so incredibly sad, but don't get it twisted. I don't feel bad for Andy. I don't feel bad for Andy at all. The only person who I feel bad for is Penelope. Jordan, I may feel bad for him a little bit, but Penelope is the one that takes the cake. Gary tried to hush Danny. And of course, she did her own, Danny theatrics. I'm not going to get too far with this. I'm not going to be too long with this. But Danny, I just felt like Danny just should have shut the hell up. It wasn't her place to say anything. It had nothing to do with her. And I know a lot of people feel like, yes, Danny should have said something because Andy wasn't going to say anything. And I believe one of the biggest issues that a lot of people are having across the fandom is that Danny is in a very peculiar situation herself. Danny is basically cheating on Preston. Danny is on a whole damn date while she trying to blow up somebody else's spot. So it's almost like you are in no position to do anything. And then you're trying to use the scope of trying to protect black women. Girl, shut up. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Then another misconception, or not a misconception, another discrepancy is that Danny had made a statement, and I think Andy made the statement too, that Gary asked Andy to marry him, but she said no. And then Danny was like, well, she has since sometimes. I said, did we forget about the wedding? Did we forget about this this fake photo shoot / wedding that Gary planned, that Karen wanted no parts of, and everybody ripped her a new one because she was trying to talk some sense into Andy's ass? Did we forget that moment? I know we didn't forget it. I didn't forget it, and I know y'all didn't forget it. But Tyler, did you forget that moment, sir? Andy did say yes. Andy was rocking the engagement ring that Gary gave her. So where are we getting this Andy said no from? I said, I can't. I can't. Anyway, Jordan tries to fight Gary. Jordan, baby, you can't fight. You can't fight. I mean, you got a little rah-rah. I was happy to see him get a little rah-rah, but we all know that Gary would have wiped the floor with his ass, okay? It wouldn't have happened. It was interesting because this is another moment where Tony was like, we let you in our circle. We're these upstanding type of guys, and we don't do that. Little boys do that. Men don't do that. And I think I would have been here for the speech if it actually sounded believable. It just sounded very elementary and performative. To me, it didn't sound like it came from a place of truth. It came from a place of, okay, I got to say this line. Let me say it. No diss to the actor because I think he's amazing. But in that moment, I'm like, we could have dealt without that. We could have really dealt without him. Now, when he told Gary, he was going to take off his belt and beat his ass, I chuckled. But then again, I was like, why? I understand having moments of comedic breaks and comedic relief. I just think it was ill-placed. That's just me. So let me get to the scene where they're in the car. Sabrina, Danny, and Andy. Andy's looking out the window, having reflective moments. I'm sure what Gary was saying was ringing in her ear. Danny calls Karen to let her know that they're on their way. But before we got to that, Sabrina was like, Danny, do you want me to take you home first? No, I don't want to go home. Why you don't want to go home? Because you got a whole man at your house who you creeping on? Miss TLC, so you creep? You just keep it on the down low because nobody else supposed to know? Okay, so that's what you doing. All right. So they get to Karen's house. And Andy flops on the couch like somebody done stole her damn bike. She can't believe what just happened. She's just in an uproar. But Danny says this in the car before we even get to that. Danny says, I can't believe what just happened. And I'm thinking to myself, why can't you? You were the instigator. You were the initiator. How you can't believe what just happened? Did you not want it to happen? That's what you wanted to see take place at that time because you wanted so much to expose Gary. And this is one of the things I have, like, as a person. I'm all for truth and I'm all for being a revealer of truth. But I think there is a time and a place for truth to be told or shared. I always look at people where it's like, you got to tell the truth so bad, you don't care how it comes out, how it affects people. And for me, I'm one of those people that actually do care. Because the truth, it does bring freedom, but it can hurt as well. And I always say, just be mindful. I think people who are truth seekers and truth revealers, there is a particular fashion in which I believe it should be revealed. That's just me. So back at Karen's house, Andy says, I meant nothing to him. That's what he said, basically telling Karen what Gary said. And I'm like, baby girl, why is this this is not a revelation. Gary has showed you from the beginning just how much you meant to him. You were disguised as his gym trips in the morning. So you will only spend a few hours with him a day, enough for him to break your back in, take a shower, give you a kiss, whisper sweet nothings in your ear, and leave. That's it. That's all you knew of Gary for 6 months. So even going back to the beginning, this trip to Paris that they supposedly went to, bullshit. I'm sorry. I was going to censor that, but that is bullshitty. Okay, when did that happen? You never went anywhere with Gary. Never. I said, baby, Tyler will throw some bull crap in there so fast. Anyway, that Paris thing, I can't. Season 7. I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you because this mess here, Jesus. The girls are trying to muster up enough words to kind of pacify Andy's ego. Because Gary said she wasn't a marrying type. She wasn't marriage material. And I think that stung a little bit. Well, a lot of it. And she was like, am I not marriage material? I can understand her friends saying what they said, but I probably would have been that friend that was like, you know what, sis? Is marriage something that you really want? Like, answer that honestly. Because I more so tend to, yeah, we need to tell the truth, and yeah, we need to read the room, but also I'm not going to let you leave my sight thinking an untruth about yourself, sis. Because Andy has no reservations in telling Karen the truth. It's over with you and Zach. He's moved on to Fatima. Karen, you need to let it go. She doesn't spare her feelings, and I'm not saying do tit for tat, but at the same time, tit tat, it's gonna happen. At this point in time, Andy, I love you, but marriage material, not right now. But that's not saying you can't be. That's not saying that you can't grow into that. That probably would have been what I said. That's just me. I'm like, why are we hiding the truth here? Like, I understand she had a lot. It was a lot of revelation that came out with Gary. But I guess for me with this situation, what am I feeling bad for? Why am I trying to shield your feelings when you've known all along? You know what you've been. You know who you've been. Like, that's the part that gets me. Like, I have no sympathy for Andy. I have no compassion. The only thing to me that really came out of this is, what are you going to do now? He has embarrassed you in front of your friends. He has embarrassed you in front of this new guy that you're interested in and his friends and the current woman who he is engaged to and has impregnated. What are you going to do, Andy? Because at this moment, it's truly like, what decision are you going to make? For me, I still feel like Andy is going to go back to Gary. And I'm going to stand on that. I feel like she's going to go back. I do. Then we got a quick scene, but it was funny to me with Gary and Hayden. Baby, Gary went over Hayden's house thinking he about to reveal and pour his guts out and all of this like that. He asked Hayden, man, can you pour me a drink? Hayden said, why? You ain't going to be here that long? When I say that sent me. I'm loving this new Hayden, how he checking Gary's ass. Hayden like, hey, my little thicky upstairs, bro, I'm going to need you to go because I need to go handle that. And Gary did reveal to Hayden that he liked Andy, but he loved Penelope. He was in love with her. And Andy's just not that chick you marry. She that girl you hit. And I think that was the truest thing that he said thus far. That is the reality of what is going on. I thought that it was a very decent episode, even though the stuff that Tyler was throwing in there that didn't make a bit of sense, all the discrepancies in this episode, still, I enjoyed it because I think the performances by KJ and Cheeto were top tier. I got to give them their props on that. Like I said, I'm sorry for the lateness of this review, but it is here. Until next time, thank you guys for listening. All the new subscribers, everybody who comment, I appreciate you greatly. Yeah. And until next time, I will holler at y'all later, and y'all be safe out there.